Chris, when you got into pre-season and you looked around the change room and you had your first training session, did you realise that you had a promotion-worthy squad?
Yeah, I think the pressure's on other teams. I think we're getting stronger week in, week out.
Golden boot also. Just going to try and stack up my trophy cabinet and try and just get it all.
I feel like in all of our heads, we're not going to lose. And at the end of the day, we are going to get promoted. I know that.
It means we can keep going through the season without any worries.
They were disillusioned, they were disheartened, they didn't believe in themselves, they didn't have any self-confidence. Fundamentally, we became complacent against a team that shouldn't be anywhere near the quality that we had on the field. And here's a controversial statement: the last three teams that we played are probably the worst three teams in the comp. They're going to come up against a rejuvenated Parklea team that are going to show them what true football actually is.
Are you in a hunt for promotion?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Do you have the squad to do that across both first and res?
100%, 110% would do.
It goes to show how much we're developing as a team and how well we're meshing.
Amazing to just play for fun. So like hearing that, that my skills and ability have led me to that is, great. Really good to hear. So
hello you wonderful people, and welcome back to the Blacktown Premier League podcast, which just continues to be the bona fide #1 sports podcast, not just in this corner of Western Sydney football, but in terms of the entire sporting global context. This is the pinnacle of podcasting and interviews and everything in between. So press like if you enjoy and cue that intro music. Here come workers on! But it's falling here towards 𝐏𝐋𝐄𝐗!
Oh my word!
To find her teammate in Izzy Grant! And now played and struck and in! People, Ryan Dominici! Further forward now, Tanyura!
We're all ready to play, and we'll go out and smoke it this time.
My name is Mark, the ever humble DePoli, and thank you so much for tuning in here tonight because we have a banger of an episode here. There's finally an opportunity to chat to the team that is winning the PL2 promotion battle right now outright. Are they as good as the points say? Well, as you've already seen from that intro, are they as good as they talk? There's only one way to find out, and that's by watching on Friday night. Yes, a Friday night match of the round. Get excited. That's why this is being uploaded on Thursday. Hopefully the Blues are winning right now. They're playing in 3 minutes. That's why I'm recording this podcast, because I have dedication to this, because this is, once again, the best podcast in the entire universe. So without further delays, let's get straight into some results and talk about things that are happening in the football world. In the Lang & Simmons Blacktown Men's Premier League 2, and as we're about to discuss on this podcast this week, the most ridiculous score I think I've ever come across in my 5 years of doing this. Town Rangers 6, Minchinbury 3. Minchinbury had a 3-0 lead at half time before Minchinbury Jets then went on to concede 6 unanswered second half goals to the Town Rangers boys. Sam Burke picked up a hat-trick, Mwene John Malenja got one, Franklin Kobe got one as well, and it's been absolutely exceptional to watch. Prospect had the bye as Parklea, who are on the match of the round this week, of course, as well, went down 2-0 to Blacktown St Pat's, courtesy of 2 goals from Iyasu Buta. And that was the only game that actually happened in the PL2, so let's go straight to the PL1. In the only other games that were being played on that really wet Saturday, of course, Quaker Hill Juniors had the bye, but in the match of the round, Polonia here at Blacktown Football Park beat Riverstone Schofields 3-1 after all 3 goals were scored inside of 6 minutes of each other. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch, and you're watching the highlights of that game right now. I hope you're enjoying it. Into the Women's Premier League now, and Marion got a 3-0 win over Quaker Hill Tigers. As you're about to discover with another chat to the Tigers girls on the podcast this week, Bianca O'Brien was really good, was named player of the match despite going down 3-0. Anna Ward-Suarez, Talia Graham and Tiana Anderson all picked up goals. It was a 9-2 win over Ropes for Georgia Hogan and her Kellyville Colts. Georgia picking up the player of the match there. She also got a couple of goals to go to her name as well. Stephanie Martin and Sienna Sanchez, who both featured on the podcast a fortnight ago, as we talked about their goal scoring prowess, both got goals. The defence, a little bit more work needs to be done there. A massive inter-Blacktown derby here in which Tara Schroeder was apparently the star. She picked up the player of the match in a 5-0 juniors win over Parklea. That is a harrowing Parklea result. And on Tuesday night, last night, which was happening in the background of my all-age men's sevens training, Kellyville Colts put 7 past Norwest. It'll be Norwest versus Quaker Hill Tigers on the match of the round this Sunday. So it actually puts Kellyville Colts on top of the table right now, but they have played 2 more than Holroyd and 1 more than Marion, and they're on the same points as Marion. So Marion have the chance to springboard them, but they are playing Holroyd up next. Hopefully that's a good game. Marion still top of PL1 as Polonia move clear of Tigers. by 3 points now, and Town Rangers are still first, and no one's catching them, it looks like. Right into the match of the night interviews right now, starting with Town Rangers, which I actually just did record right here, so it's going to be a very simple transition. Make sure you keep an eye on who says what, because there's some pretty good bites and grabs from this episode, as you've seen from the intro. This is a team who are full of confidence, but will Parklea bring them down to earth? Only both these two teams can decide how it goes. Friday night, see you there, but let's listen to what they had to say. Minchinbury Jets had a pretty good strategy heading into the 2025 season. Take a good team, sign even better players, and leapfrog from there. Blake Morris, as we open this podcast with the current table toppers of the PL2, I want you to answer me this question. How did you end up with Pond's Sam Burke, Mariong's Aro Gar, Dooney's Franklin Kobe, Glenwood's Asher Lumi, and John Melendra from Oakville? How did you do it?
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Mark. I think in terms of that philosophy that we want at the club, it's all about getting those players that have that like-mind mentality, and it's as simple as that, you know. In terms of things that we want to achieve, it's about aiming high, and these players, I suppose, want to meet those targets with us.
Abuka, I'll get you to grab that mic. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to the podcast for the first time, I should say. You are the reigning player of the year, and that is an awesome thing to be able to hold. How did you feel when you were recognised in that way?
Yeah, like, it's something good. I feel like about time, you know. I feel like as a team, we all put like a lot of work in, and like, it's very good to get that sort of recognition. Obviously, that's the goal for this season also, to try and get that recognition back again, try and get that title back and continue to hold it.
You're obviously part of the All-Star squad. You took that sort of form of momentum into pre-season. You started well by all accounts in terms of the eyewitnesses that I spoke to, but then you've been injured. So can you reveal where you're at with your recovery and how you're feeling?
So far, I've been out for around almost a month. We're getting back. The doctors are saying, give me maybe around an extra week or two just to fully make sure I'm back. But yeah, it's been tough. But I'm proud of the boys, you know, that were winning all the games, scoring the goals. So it just proves that, you know, without me and without some other boys, I can still, you know, do the job.
Will Nalos, welcome to not just the podcast but Blacktown this season in general. It's great to have you on. Congratulations on your recent achievements as well. Tell me about this recent Minchinbury Jets game. Down 3-0 at halftime, and then you have probably been part of one of the greatest comebacks in the league's history. Talk me through the entire game.
Yeah, thanks for having me, mate. That game was just unreal. Obviously playing Resi's first and then backing up for first. Blake went into the change rooms with us and obviously laid out the tactics and told us what we needed to do. First 45, we didn't listen. We went down 3 mistakes from the boys, and they just capitalised 3 goals. And then second half, we just turned it around for a 6-3 win. It was quite an intense battle, strong battle, a really good one. But
Chris, jump on in. Welcome to the podcast as well. I know you've been part of some of the promotion in years gone by, but welcome here to the podcast. Good to have you on. Squad captain. Are you 6 goals a better team than Minchinbury Jets? Are you really, that much of that? Does that second half reflect how much better you guys are than them, do you think?
I think it just reflects how much we worked during pre-season. Shows like character as a team, being resilient. 3-0 down, our heads went down. We knew that, you know, it's our home ground. We never lost last season, and we just knew second half we just go at it again, go harder, more intense, and at the end of the day we won 6-3.
Blake, be honest with me, how advantageous is it to be able to train consistently week on week on a synthetic pitch, then be able to play there as well? When you play your home games, as we've just mentioned, they're undefeated in the last, 18 months. So the fact that you can do that means that you can play a certain style of way and prepare to play a certain style of way, because nothing's going to change because you can't dig a hole in synthetic. Is that a helpful thing?
For sure. I think it's something that we look forward to. It's really, I suppose, credit to the club for backing us as a program. You know, we really are a priority at Rangers. It's all about those pathways for our juniors, but also for our first graders as well. So at the moment, we're just really enjoying the occasions, and yeah, in terms of our preparation, it's top notch. And I said earlier, it's how we take things very seriously, and the boys believe in that, and it's something that we look forward to every week.
Chris, again, as the captain, last year's team was very good, full of lots of personalities, including lots of TikTok posts as well. Talk to us about some of the personalities that have come in this year and how you've been able to manage them as the captain.
Look, I think last year we had a lot of young boys. We were all fired up, a lot of energy, but this year, whole new team, we got a lot more new signings, more experience. I Obviously, our standouts were Ash and John. They bring a lot of energy to the team, a lot of flair. It's fun just working with them. At the end of the day, we're not superstars, and I feel like in the team, we kind of know all our roles. We're not better than each other. We love each other. We see each other as a brother.
Blake, with these new signings, off the back of what you guys did last year as well, being in first place right now, do you feel the heat and the pressure of having to hold on to this all the way through the season now?
I think the ambition started week 1. At the moment, we've met all the targets. I think the pressure's on other teams. I think we're getting stronger week in, week out. And once we add, I suppose, some chemistry and consistency to our lineups, are going to be even more dangerous. So,
Abuka, speaking of consistent lineups, obviously when you get back among the team and among the goals, that'll be a bit more consistency to the team. In terms of what you're noticing from the sideline, though, with a couple of weeks now out, how has the team changed in terms of the way that they play to how they're playing this year?
I feel like last year, obviously being a new team, was a bit difficult for some of us to gel. I feel like this year now we understand each other a little bit more. We kind of all understand our roles. We know what we need to do, where we need to go. It's all more easier, you know. We can all work off each other, play to our strengths, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Will, you're new to the comp, so you've played every team bar Parklea once. We're at the halfway point of the season as of this weekend. But because you don't know how any team has played in the past or what any other team has achieved, you can give us a really direct answer on this. Who has given you guys the toughest game so far?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a good one. Probably I have to go with Minchinbury. Just last game, just a couple of days ago.
Probably every chance you could have lost that game, right?
That first half was probably the toughest we've had to face, but also come off the back of our mistakes. So turning that around in the second half showed who we are.
Chris, when you got into pre-season and you looked around the change room and you had your first training session, did you realise that you had a promotion-worthy squad?
Yeah. Just training with everyone. We had high standards from the start. We had all of our individual goals, but we knew as a collective that promotion was the key, winning the league was the key, and I felt like after last season we had a chip on our shoulder to prove to everyone who we were.
Abuka, again, when you come back, which is what we're really looking forward to, in terms of Player of the Year, is that something you'd like to at least be in contention for? It's probably difficult having missed so many games, but was it something you'd like to try and maintain? Is it on the forefront of your mind?
Of course, you know, trying to get, you know, whatever trophy I can get, apart from the title, obviously. So we're going to try to go for Player of the Year, try to see what I can do, hopefully go for our Golden Boot also. Just going to try and stack up my trophy cabinet and try and just get it all, basically, yeah.
Newbury are 3 points behind you, but they have a game in hand. Is this now your promotion push to lose?
Of course not. I feel like the team we've built, the type of mentality we've got, we're not losers. You know, if we take a loss, like, best believe in training, we'll do 20 times more work than the other team. So in the future, I don't see our team losing. I see us winning. If we do lose, just know that's like, you know, something's not going to happen again.
Blake, again, since Newbury are 3 points behind you and they have the game in hand, it means that the next game against them will be particularly important. We'll talk about Parklea, specifically the match round, for just a sec. But with your position right now, do you feel like you have a target on your back as the team to beat?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that target's been there since the start of the comp. You know, we did finish above expectation last year for our first season, and now we're just back on track to really, I suppose, make that dream come true.
Chris, just one more sort of question on promotion, and that is, if you weren't to now get promoted from this season, does that make this season a failure?
No, because I feel like in all of our heads, we're not going to lose. I feel like as a team, we have our sets high. We've got hopes to be promoted. We're going to win the league, and we set that pressure on ourselves. But that pressure is not because we're deluded, we're not, you know, crazy or anything. We're realistic. We're grounded. We take each game, you know, day by day. We train hard. We're consistent with everything, and at the end of the day, we are going to get promoted. I know that.
Good to hear. Blake, you're the super coach, so this question goes towards you. You would have watched Parklea over the last couple of years. You know what they're about. I'm not sure if you've watched them this year, but they're a pretty solid team, and as you're watching the podcast, they've got a pretty solid coach as well. What do you know about them?
Yeah, for sure. So I was there last Sunday when they played Pats. So yeah, in terms of their structure, how they play football under James. It's going to be something different, but something that we're prepared for. And in terms of Friday night, I'm not sure they're prepared for the kind of atmosphere that will be there from the fans, from the committee. So everyone at Rangers, get down there and support us.
And I'll go to you, Will, one more time. As somebody who's played across both the first and reserve grade, you're probably best positioned to answer this. Obviously, promotion is the goal, and it comes down to having a good squad, not just a good first grade team. What can you speak about in terms of the quality of that reserve grade side at Town Rangers?
Yeah, look, good question. It does come from a lot of depth. Like, our push for promotion is not just based off first grade, it's based off coming from our 20s to our resis to our first. It's having 20s being able to step up to reserves when needed, and reserves being able to fill spots in first. Having that depth just means we can keep going through the season without any worries. So.
Okay, Booker, last question. Finish this podcast off. You guys have all said that you're going to get promoted. So how many more points are you going to finish above everybody else that comes below you?
Honestly, like, if I could think of a number, like, I would, but there's no number. I just know we're going to be on the top, and we're going to be so far up that it's going to be difficult for anyone else to try and catch up to us. That's basically it, yeah. Confidence
is brimming at Town Rangers and through at Popondetta Reserve. It is certainly going to be a good match of the round. Parklea are capable of doing very good things, and they have a 3-game losing streak to turn around. Could it happen in the match of the round? It certainly could. Boys, thanks so much for chatting with me on the podcast tonight. Really do appreciate it. Thank you. Lot of confidence coming out of those boys in Town Rangers colours. They are certainly tipping themselves to be promoted this season. Go back and watch the interview, by the way, and actually watch it on your screen and look at how Blake Morris was reacting to each of those answers. He knows that the pressure was on him, and respect to him for being able to keep a straight face and not sort of tell his team to be quiet, because they spoke a lot. So they better back it up. Let's head straight away now to Parklea, because Parklea have a much different approach to this podcast, as you're about to find out. And if you can remember back to what I put into the intro, they need to turn their season around, because we're approaching the halfway point and it needs to happen now, or it's not going to happen this year. So let's see if they're prepared. Can they topple Town Rangers? They think they can. Here's why. Tonight we're here with a team who are prepared to put themselves back in contention to fight for top spot, and they'll be doing it against the team who are currently sitting there. You all very much know Jordi D'Alessandro. Ryan Hoffsmith is a guy who can score multiple goals in a game, as we'll discuss soon. And this is Mr. Boyle from Scotland, who has pretty good pedigree, as we're going to discover throughout this episode. Boys, thanks so much for joining me here tonight. Jordi, let's throw back to last season. Let's start with the more difficult stuff. You guys were in top 4 for a lot of the season. There was 2 draws and 3 losses in the last 5 games to end the season, and you guys fell out of that spot. What happened there?
Not good enough. Simply weren't good enough. We just lacked the preparation we needed to go into those games, and unfortunately it just came back to haunt us in those moments. But yeah, honestly, it was really, really hard for the boys to take. It was hard on me, and that's something that we want to make sure that we leave in the past and move right now. So yeah, it was a valuable but brutal learning experience, but we move forward.
Ryan, in and out of the first grade squad last year for reasons we don't know. As you grab that mic for me, can you tell us why that was? What can you reveal?
I don't know. Mainly just get amongst the reserve grade side as well. We were looking to use me in the final stages there. I was also battling with injury and all that stuff, so kind of made it difficult to play 2 games at a time.
All right, James, time to introduce you finally to our competition. Welcome to Blacktown Premier League football. It's good to have you here. Yep. You're an advocate for young players being blooded into senior football, as far as my research takes me, and you have a pedigree of doing just that. And it's not just a belief, you've actually put it into action plenty of times. You're also a UEFA A licensed coach.
Correct.
Which is fantastic, and that's why part of the thumbnail of this podcast will be dedicated towards you. That is an incredible achievement. Tell me how you found yourself in Parklea colours this year.
I had been in and out of NPL for a couple of years, and then a good friend of mine sort of dangled the carrot in front of me of saying, do you want to get into men's football? Do you want to go have a shot? I brought in Mark. We came down to a couple of training sessions. We had a look. We seen the potential that the boys had, and I took on the opportunity, and it's been a good challenge so far.
Off the back of Geordie's answer in terms of how last season ended, how did you find this squad in their first session? Were they still feeling the burn of that?
They were still feeling the burn. They were disillusioned. They were disheartened. They didn't believe in themselves. They didn't have any self-confidence. and they were playing robotic football, and that had to change.
The season so far has probably been highlighted by a couple of individual games. We'll talk about the form of recent in just a sec. But the 5-1 over Minchinbury, I think, was a really good one. There's been 3 games since then, though, that have obviously not gone so well.
Yep.
So let's start with Spurs. They're a team who've only got 1 win this year, and that's happened to come up against you guys. That's what turned the form around, it seems.
Yep.
What went wrong there?
We became complacent. Fab will tell you that he outplayed us, but fundamentally we became complacent against a team that shouldn't be anywhere near the quality that we had on the field. We just lacked urgency, we lacked discipline, we lacked intensity, and the boys got a rollicking at the end of that game. And they worked hard on the Monday because they knew that just wasn't the standard of performance that I'm expecting.
So there you go. I've discovered that you know Fabio Macarola as well, the Spurs coach.
Very, very well. I used to coach alongside Fab.
Okay, Ryan, let's talk about the prospect game. That was a particularly good one for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, not
healthy
too bad.
day out?
Yeah, I guess you can say so, yeah. I wasn't happy with my performance the week beforehand, so I thought I'd have to show out for that game, and as I did.
You join a very small list of players in Blacktown Premier League, at least match of the round history, or at least since we started recording games, who have scored 4 goals in a game. You've scored a match of the round hat-trick before. What's to say that you won't put a 4th one in this weekend?
Oh, we'll wait and see, eh? I'm feeling good about this week. Being back from injury, I wasn't able to play against St. Pat's, so it'll be good to turn up this week for sure.
Town Rangers are top of the table though. What do you know about them? Obviously we've got the chance to play them for the first time last year.
Mm-hmm.
Are you confident in putting in, as a team, a good performance against them?
Yeah, we've got a good group of boys. We're going to show up. It's obviously a really good side. We played them last year. Close games, maybe 2-1 around all 3 games last season. So it's always been pretty tight against those boys, and as it shows, they're on top of the ladder. So we're really got to get on top of that. Really got to fight for that.
Geordie, I should have asked you before. Obviously, part of the All-Stars squad was very good in the trainings that I was able to attend. And in the 20 minutes that we got before it was completely Mother Natured out, you were good. So what happened to you in that game that had to force you to come off early, and how you feeling since then?
Gassed. I was absolutely gassed. I'm not going to lie to you. First game into pre-season, bit rough. Now we're better, just dealing with a couple of injuries here and there since the season started, but we're rolling on, we're getting good, and now with the next few games coming up ahead, I'm really keen to just get the roll on, get the fitness back up and fire.
We talked about the Spurs loss, but since then also 2 more losses, looking to turn that form around. In terms of the 2 losses since the Spurs one though, what do you think has gone wrong, and are these boys motivated to come here tonight on a nice pitch and change that?
No, you better believe it. The game against Newbury, we just got punished for not taking our chances. We had a multitude of chances that we should have scored. They put away 2 chances and buried us, really. That was pretty much it. So that was that. St. Pat's, similar sort of thing. Just punished for not finishing our chances, and ultimately we know that's not good enough. So yeah, we're here going to work really hard and go from there.
James, could you just sort of extend on that? What, when you say it's a joke, what went wrong in that day?
We dominated possession, we dominated the game with 23 goal scoring opportunities and scored 1. The goals were taken from individual mistakes from players who should know better. The teams that we've played, the last 3 teams that we've played, and here's a controversial statement, the last 3 teams that we've played are probably the worst 3 teams in the comp. In terms of the way they're tactically set up and in terms of the way that they play. So not good enough. This week will be a challenge for us, but Mount Druitt are just 11 boys on a field thinking that they know how to play football. They're going to come up against a rejuvenated Parklea team that are going to show them what true football actually is.
Okay, this is the end of the first round draw though. This is the first time that you come up against them. This is an important game before we go back to round 1, if you like. What does this team, after almost half the season, actually point to a moment where you probably played your best passage of football, and what is this team capable of playing when they're actually in sync?
We took 3 goals off Minchinbury in 10 minutes. If we can repeat that. Minchinbury, are probably, they're an okay team. They've got some good individual players, but for the first 10 minutes of that game, we were outstanding. I don't think Minchinbury touched the ball, for a considerable period of time. they got a dubious penalty, and then, we sort of backed off a little bit. But if we can continue the passage of play that we had against Minchinbury, we took 5 off Prospect at the start of the season as well. And we took 4 off Glenwood. So if we're scoring 14 goals in 3 games and then we're losing 3 games after it, the question is complacency. We cannot be complacent against Druitt, and we won't be.
Ryan, you've been a good striker now across 2 divisions. You've got, like I said, we've spoken about, you've got lots of goal hauls in games, hat-tricks, pokers, this, that and the other braces. I think for you it's about turning your game into being a consistent one, as you're still in your early 20s, for example, so you've got plenty of time to do it. What do you think would help take you into that conversation where people are like, this is the best striker in this league, because you've got the potential to do it?
Maybe start eating my bananas, something like that. Start eating my vegetables. But, I just got to stay consistent. I got to watch out for my injuries as well. That's been a main factor for the past couple of years. But under James and Mark here, we're going to shine this season, honestly. We're going to show up. We're fighting for that top spot, and we're looking to stay there and be promoted for the next season.
All right, Geordie, you probably know the squad best. You've been here for the longest. Probably people will call you Mr. Parklea at this point. Are you in a hunt for promotion?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Do you have the squad to do that across both first and res?
100%, 110%. The thing is, once we click and fully gel, we'll be unstoppable. I know that for a fact, and everyone does too.
Coach, should this team make first grade, do they have what it takes to compete there, or do you think they have the potential in the next half a season to at least look like a PL1 team? And if not, what do you think might be missing?
The speed of the game in PL1 is a lot quicker than PL2. Some of the players will have to either improve or they'll be changed out if they want to make it into PL1. And that's me being brutal. The way that the lads play, are they good enough to get there? Yes. Can they get there? Yes. Are they going to get there this season? That's up to them. It's up to them on the field. I can only do what I can do during the week. If they don't turn up on a Saturday, it doesn't matter how good they are. It doesn't matter if they've got a whole, if they batter an arsenal of goals in. If they score 5 or 6, we don't want the other team to score 7. You've seen what happened at Minchinbury at Druitt last week. Minchinbury 3 up, and Druitt took 6 off them in the second half. We can't afford for that to happen. But they are good enough to get into the top 4. They're good enough to get into the top 2. They just have to be consistent, and they have to remain disciplined. That's the biggest challenge for these boys coming into a new coach, a new routine, a new way of training. Once they get into that, Geordie's right. They'll be a very, very difficult team to stop.
Geordie, I assume you're still playing in defence this year. I haven't had the chance to watch you.
No.
No?
No.
Okay, well, I'll let you reveal that as we get closer to the weekend. But at least as a former defender, right? Hearing the fact that a team made a 3-0 down to 6-3 comeback in the second half alone in that Minchinbury game. So Jets went up 3-0, then they conceded 6 goals in the second half, which is just frankly ridiculous. Town Rangers are going to be out firing. So does that, as a former defender, scare you?
Nothing scares me. So, but look, it doesn't take away from the fact that they're a good goal scoring team and whatnot. So it'd be foolish to be complacent and whatnot. But yeah, I'm ready. Not scared of anyone.
I think the one thing just to add to that is that we've actually had players from Mount Druitt come down to our training sessions and actually want us to sign them during the season, and we've told them that they would have to start in reserves. So we know what they can do, but we also know how to stop them, and that's the difference. Is we know how to prevent them from scoring goals.
Okay. Last question, and I'm going to stick with you, James. Just in terms of, if not this year, when could it be? Or do you really think that this is the year to go up?
It'll be within the next 2 years.
Okay. Are you going to be sticking around for that? Is this your project now?
If this is what the club want me to do, then I'll be here for as long as the club want me. Obviously, that will be dependent on results. That will be dependent on how things go. But the information so far and the feedback I'm getting so far is positive. Hopefully, the boys are thinking the same. I can't speak for them, but certainly. I've got no intention of going anywhere. Have been tapped on the shoulder, haven't went anywhere since.
That is how Parklea look. They are obviously serial winners, and of course, you know, in the 2010s, they were 6 Peters in terms of the grand final. Didn't win the premiership every year, but they knew how to show up in the biggest of big moments. This is a team that has winning etched into its very DNA, and it's up to these boys and this group of coaching staff to get them back to where you would argue history says they deserve to be. Boys, thanks so much for being here on the podcast tonight. I really do appreciate it, and your honesty as well. It's been an absolute pleasure, and good luck on Friday night.
Thank you.
Thanks, brother.
Big fan of James Boyle and some of the words that he said. Very open, very honest. I'm glad that he was willing to do that on his Match of the Round podcast debut. I'm interested to see how his team plays. He says he doesn't want to play robotic. He says the Parklea were playing robotic, and he's now started to move them away from that. But will that show? Only one way to find out. Make sure you're there. We're going straight to Quaker Hill Tigers, who are coming into another match of the round that is certainly very winnable off the back of, yes, a downturn in form, but they have played some very good teams. They went down 3-0 to 2 of the teams that are sitting in the top 4 right now. That top 4 that's accelerated away from the rest of the competition. Are they good? Yes. Are they better than last year? Yes. Can they win another match of the round game? You could argue, absolutely they could. And here's why. Quaker Hill Tigers are this week's Match of the Round guests after a late change has put them on schedule for Sunday, and they have a chance to do something special on camera. Again, I'm joined by Tash Swansborough, who's here again, also by Ash Boulton, new to the club this year but not new to the podcast. This is her second appearance, and also Elise Desira is pretty regular at this point. We're going to start with the captain of Tigers, who won the game against Ponds in their last match of the round. You beat 2, got in the box, had a shot, it looped over the keeper. It was amazing. Talk me through your thought process in winning the ball back twice and then unleashing that shot.
Yes, it was very exciting. For us, I think it's important to know that when we have that opportunity, you know, like look for that option and take it, you know. So, and that's what I tried doing, and it successfully worked for myself. So yeah, it was definitely thrilling to get one on the table, and couldn't be more proud of these girls as well. So yeah.
Pretty humble from the captain of Tigers. It was a phenomenal goal. Tash, I go to you. Your work rate, as per usual, was fantastic that day. We came into the last podcast that you featured on. We talked about how good it was to get 1 win. Tell me about how good it was to get 2.
Oh, it was great. Obviously, to reiterate what Elise said, just to get another one on the board, it's amazing. Because obviously, you know, we had a tough year last year, and to, you know, it goes to show how much we're developing as a team and how well we're meshing. Obviously, we can work on a couple of things, but that's what Taryn's teaching us.
Ash, you spoke on the first podcast, first of now 3, about why you decided to join this club and about the pathway that this club was on, at least demonstrated to you. Now that that's been set in motion, do you feel like you're on track to achieving the things that you want to achieve, not just this year, but over the next couple?
Yeah, I honestly think that the progress that we have made as a team this year, obviously I can't really comment on last year, but just seeing the progress from this year has been incredible. To get 2 wins on the board already this season, and just the overall morale in the team has been absolutely incredible. And I think within the next couple of years, we're going to develop a very, very strong team, including the amazing under-18s we've got coming through.
Elise, I know you're humble as ever, but as a chance to potentially brag, you are my favourite in terms of individual quality, my favourite Tigers player. If I was to say to you that you're etching your way into the top 10 individual players in the league, what's your reaction to that?
Oh, wow. Obviously starstruck. It'd be awesome. I've been playing at this club for I think about 13, 14 years now, so it's just been amazing to just play for fun. So like hearing that, you know, that my skills and ability have led me to that is great, really good to hear. So and appreciate that.
Well, that's what a Match of the Round goal can lead to, of course, and I'm sure many people were watching. Somebody else that's really impressed recently, also in terms of in the midfield as well. I know there's been 2 losses since the Match of the Round, but both to very, very good fellow Blacktown teams. Bianca O'Brien actually picked up the player of the match in one of those losses in the Marion game most recently. So I go back to you as the captain to speak on behalf of her. You're the most well-equipped to do this as the captain. Tell me about what she brings to the team and her individual quality.
Bianca, she's a superstar in our team. She's always there, and you know, you you see a ball pop up and yep, she's there with a header, or she's got first touch to it, you know. So you sort of watch her play and go, wow, like what? How did she get there? It's always amazing having her on, and her ability to play in all sorts of positions that Taryn puts her in. And yeah, we couldn't appreciate the amazing work that she does.
Tash, I go to you now. Norwest this weekend in a Sunday match of the round. It is an opportunity, maybe a bit fortuitously for you guys to play another team that's not towards the top of the table and have another moment that could be really memorable in a match of the round. Norwest do have the worst defence in the league. They've conceded over 40 goals, so it's certainly a chance for a team to play a team below you and beat them. Are you expecting to win this one?
We're definitely going in with that mentality. We're very, very pumped. Obviously, you know, Norwest, they're still a good team. Maybe they're just not gelling as well this year, but that goes to show, you know, we can maybe put one on them, and yeah, we'll see.
Ash, I go to you as someone who has played Women's Premier League finals football before with your previous club. I think it'd be fair enough to say that maybe finals is out of the question, just about out of the question for this season. Obviously, something could change pretty drastically, but realistically, probably a little bit far out of reach. With there being no real motivation to achieve that finals push, and with there obviously being no relegation, you're kind of in a safe on the sand spot right now with each game. There's no real jeopardy, and that finals target is a bit far forward. So what's motivating you guys to keep improving and keep pressing on to try and win each week?
Look, I think that we made a goal at the start of the season, even if we didn't say it as a team. I think we made a goal to push ourselves and make a big improvement this year. And I think that's what's motivating us, is just getting those wins on the board, because it's something we still really celebrate, even the individual goals and the individual moments that we have. I think that, you know, coming together as a team and achieving what we haven't achieved before is really important in motivating us and setting us up for the future.
Captain, I've got a couple of questions for you as we finish off. In terms of some of the young players that have come through, there was a mention about the 18s who are going to slowly blood their way through over the next couple of years, but specifically with the ones who have come in this year, there have been some of them who've got among the goals, including in match of the round games. There's two. I think back to Maddie Steele in round one, but Alana's picked up a couple as well. Talk to me about, again as the captain, how proud you are to see them come through and blossom so far.
Yeah, it's awesome. I couldn't be more proud of them. We've got, like you said, Maddie and Lani that are now in our women's prems, and some of the other girls that have come in from 21s. But we also have these amazing 18s coming through, and we couldn't be more thankful for just the amount of work that they've come through and helped us and moulded with us. And they try their hardest every game.
Thank you very much to the Quakers Tigers girls for coming on for a third time, even before the halfway point of the season. As you can probably tell, we have to dig pretty deep for some of the questions here, but they did a pretty good job in covering all bases. It's been pretty good to watch them progress over the last 2 years, and whether you might consider it lucky or of the football gods, they get a chance against a team that they can realistically beat again this weekend. So girls, best of luck to you up against a Hills team. And thank you very much for being on the podcast tonight. Norwest, definitely now off the back of the Tuesday night game, by the way, which was being recorded after I actually did that podcast, means that they now have by far, unfortunately, the worst goal difference. So sorry to any of the Norwest crew who are happening to be watching right now, but just a fact. It is certainly going to be a winnable match of the round for both teams, but you'll be hoping as a Blacktown Premier League fan and as a Blacktown sports fan, you'll be wanting to see the Blacktown team come out on top. So good luck to the Quakers Tigers girls as they continue their quest to eclipse perhaps 10 points for the season. The match of the round on Friday night for the PL2 is the match to watch, unquestionably. But if you need a Saturday fix as well, I think Minchinbury Jets versus Prospect could be equally as good. Patterson Reserve will be the home base of a Quakers Hill derby once again, so head there at 4 p.m. on Saturday. And then from there, go straight to Doonside versus Ponds, happening at Ponds Home Ground and Jonas Bradley Reserve. What a weekend of footy it is. I've actually just checked my Dribble app right now for the WPL. It has officially been rescheduled. Holroyd will face Marion tomorrow night. So we don't know who's top of the WPL table just yet, because that game is happening as this podcast is being uploaded. So go and watch that. Tune into the match round at 3 p.m. Of course, that is the key game because it could be one where either team wins. It's not an assured result heading into it. That's going to do it for this week's episode of the Blacktown Premier League podcast. I'm going to go rush off to watch State of Origin. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to those who have tuned into each and every episode this week. I know who some of you are, and I'm gratefully appreciative of those who can quote lines from the podcast that have been uploaded throughout the year. To those of you who have the level of attention to detail and commitment to this podcast and what we do here, thank you so much. I love you guys and appreciate you so much. If you're a new viewer here, I hope you enjoyed. Good luck to your team heading into this weekend as we hit the halfway point of the season already. Unbelievable. Go the Blues, and I will cue now the outro music. But it's fallen here towards 𝐏𝐋𝐄𝐗! Oh my word. And now played and struck and in! Further forward now to Ryan Dominici! Wants a second goal. Isabel Greb should have a second goal and finishes with ease.